Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome to Transcendent as Fuck with Iena SpiritWalker. Here, we help you unlock your superpowers, and we also talk about the challenges and blessings of being a spiritual being in a meat sack. I'm so excited to have Vicki Chisholm here with us today, and the name of our podcast today is The Transformation Journey of Expansion. Vicki, welcome, welcome. Woo! Please tell the audience about who you are, what you do.
Hello, Rena. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me here today. I am so excited to be connected with you, to be sharing this space, and to be jumping into the topic of the transformation of expansion. That's just going to be absolutely awesome when we get there. So, for those of you who have never met me before, and I'm just some randomer that's just shown up and gone, hey, hello, my name is Vicki Chisholm. I am a psychic business strategist and energy healer, and I have been coaching now for over 5 years, but I've been in business for over 12. I have 3 children. I have a dog, and he is my fur baby, and he drives me crazy. And what I do for fun is I go out and ride my motorbike. And also, my passion is really about serving spiritual entrepreneurs to be exactly who they are and become a little bit more wealthy than they've allowed themselves to settle for. And that's where I'm on a global mission right now to reach the hearts of over 100,000 entrepreneurs and help them expand. And so far this year, I've already tapped into an audience of over 280,000. So we're getting there slowly but surely, and we are raising the vibration of creation and expansion. So that leads perfectly into our topic for today, Iena. So thank you for having me.
Yes, it is such perfect timing. There's so many reasons for this. The first thing is, I feel like humanity's all being called to step into this biggest version of who we are. That's why everybody's having that sense of the rug pulled out from under them, because we've been playing small for way too long and we've just accepted it. And it's having someone like Vicki help you step into the biggest version of who you are to serve others where they are and what they need from you is just epic. And also, anybody who does any kind of transformation for people as a service, oh my gosh, we need you. Please step into it. We need you, and you need to make bank while you're doing it. You can't be living out of your car and serving from your highest good.
Yeah, but don't you find that though, like there's so many amazing gifted and talented individuals out there, and they just want to serve, they want to help, they want to inspire, they want to give people the love and the connection that they've never had, and yet they don't receive money for it in exchange because they have this belief that they should work themselves into the ground, almost like a servant energy. Spiritual entrepreneurs are not servants. I don't think we can say that aloud enough, can we? It's like,
no. Yeah. Yeah,
boy.
I love that too. And it's, the other layer to that, or maybe the other side of the coin to that, is when good people have money, we can do good things in the world.
Yes. That's it. That's the nail on the head, right? That is it. Because, well, there's this like global thing of money's evil, money's a bad thing, money we shouldn't do this. Oh, don't be so greedy and don't this. I call utter crap on that. Complete and utter BS. Because let me tell you, the more the good people have the money, the less the bad people will get, right? And just think of all the good that then comes from that. Look at all the charity work that gets done. Look at all the ways in which people come together as a community to build, because good people put good money in good places.
Yes. Yes.
And that's going to set us off on a political tangent. So
but the money element is part of it. I mean, you're in business to help people who are in business, and money is huge. And I'm curious, like, okay, so the transformation journey of expansion, that's such a juicy topic. Where do we start with that?
Okay, well, first and foremost, for anybody listening in today, there's only one place that you start, and that is knowing what the fucking hell you want.
Yes.
Okay, we can't go on a transformation journey if you're sitting pretty over there on a pedestal going, my life's fine and dandy, but inside you're dying, right? It just doesn't work like that. We've got to peel off those masks, and we've got to actually get to the truth of who you are to then actually get the clarity of what the fuck do you want. And this is something that I see so many struggle with. Because you sit there and go, what do you want? They go, nobody's ever asked me that question before. How on earth do I know? And that's where the work starts.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, great. So, all right, I'm going to give myself permission to dream big. I'm going to give myself permission to expand out a little bit of where I am now. And then you just continue that journey, because the more you start expanding and expanding and expanding, then you get to the big juicy stuff. Now, people normally come to me when they've had some juicy stuff. And then what happens is they come to me because there's a next level of juice that's ready to be jumped in. And then they're like, oh, can I quite do that? I don't think I can. And they need a little bit of tweaking and a little bit of guidance and a little bit of realignment to where they need to go and where they want to go. So the journey of transformation for expansion will always come from what you want, not what you think you want, not what your parents told you want, not what the teacher down the road said you should be, actually what you want. Don't you agree when you're working with transformation, Iena?
I do. I think the other thing I'd love to hear from you about is what about what we don't want? How does that play into, are we holding on to that? Do we need to define that? How does that play into this transformation?
Okay, that's a really interesting one. Thank you so much for bringing it forward. So this is actually one of the best places to start. When someone says to me, I don't know how to know what I want because I've never been asked that question before, which happens a lot more than you would think. What I normally do is we start with, well, what don't you want in your life? And they'll sit there and they go, well, I don't want this, and I don't want that, and I don't want, and they can create a whole list of it. So what we do is we go opposite, right? So if you don't want to have an empty bank account every month, what do you want to have in your bank account every month? If you don't want to have shitty relationships and be abused anymore, then what do you want to have in your relationships, and what does that look like? So we take you from that transformation journey from, well, there's a great big pile of dollops of things that I don't want, and then we transform it into knowing what you want, because some people will put things on there that they think they want, they actually don't want. So that's where the alignment bit comes. But we're getting that, it's just the mindset, the change in, oh, well, if I don't want this, what do I want? And if I don't want that, what do I want? And then we're just transferring it over. And once we get that nice list of things that you do want, we then fine tune it, we then get you into alignment for it, and then we bring you back into balance for it. Of, it could be that your root chakra is out of alignment, therefore you're not feeling safety and stabilization. It could be you've got an inner child wound that goes, I could never have any of that. You could have, you know, you could have a past life that comes in and goes, hey, by the way, you've just you're contracted to do X, Y, and Z for the eternity, so you've got no hope in hell. So then we need to go in and we need to realign that. It just depends on the individual, but knowing where to start in the first place is always the best place to start.
Yes. That's so epic. Thank you so much for bringing that up, because I also find a lot of people, just in reference to like mindset and the energy that they're bringing around, they're so focused on what they don't want. They can't even, I mean, I've had conversations with people just like you. What is it that you do want? And they're just like blank, completely blank. And taking that and shifting it, making that transformation is so epic for people. And it sounds simple, but you know what? We need to take baby steps sometimes, because if there's something that you've been stuck in your whole life, which often is patterns for us, you need to do the steps, as Vicky's saying, to figure out what it is that you do want, so you can drop what you don't want. Let that shit go. Walk away from it. Stop looking in the rearview mirror and focus on this new, beautiful, amazing journey that you are moving into.
Completely and utterly. But you have to be decisive about that journey. And this is where I see a lot of people make the mistakes, because they go into it thinking, oh, well, I don't want that, I want this. But because they haven't done the soul alignment work, they're actually connecting with the things that they don't want at all. And then that's causing even more issues, because then they're even more stuck. And then we can't move them to where they want to be, because they're caught up in the ego and the mindset rather than feeding into the heart space. So it's never as easy as what people make it out to be. But it does get to be easier when you work with someone else who can notice those little things and pull out those little weeds. And, I class this as one of my superpowers. I work fast, I tune in, I go, oh, we're going right there, thank you. That's the core of the issue. We're going to whip that out and we're going to send it off that way. And the clients are just sitting there completely flabbergasted. What did she just do to me? I do with permission, of course, but you know, it's like, no, if you want to get to where you want to be and you're so sick and tired of being in the shit pile, then
Mm-hmm.
we've got to do this work of realignment. And this is why I do my this is one thing I love about my Radical Realignment Business Intensive, because it gives me that opportunity to just help people tweak the bits that they need to take them to the next level, rather than going and doing like the whole program, so to speak. I do like those little intensives. They're quite cool.
Yes.
Very
I love that. And I always think about, just in reference to what we don't want, when my daughter was little, my kids are in their 20s now, but when my daughter was little, I used to say, like, Autumn, what would you like for dinner? Well, I don't want spaghetti, and I don't want meatloaf, and I don't want, and it's like, that is not helpful at all. I have no idea where we're going here.
Exactly. And I say it to my kids a lot as well, like, okay, what do you want to do, Danae? Okay, well, would you like to make a decision, or would you want me to make the decision for you? Because I'm not spending my whole day wondering about what decision you want to make.
Right.
And,
Yes.
but as adults, we also need to take that leadership role as well and say, well, I'm the leader of my own life. I'm the leader of my business. So how can I step into the best self, my best self, when I'm stuck?
Yes. Yes. And I love too that you brought up the importance of energetic healing. You were talking about root chakras and past lives and all that stuff. And I think it's something that's so overlooked often with people, because there's a tendency to forget that we're spiritual beings in these meat sacks, right? So we can have this balance. We need to do that dance, you know, one foot in each realm. And when we're not nurturing all aspects of who we are, our life, our business, our health, things are just going to all reflect the same thing. Shit.
Yeah, completely. I've never heard anyone saying that. We're a spiritual being in these meat sacks. I hadn't seen myself as a piece of meat, thank you, but I'm starting to now.
Yeah.
But something that you shared there as well, which was really key, is like, often people confuse what spirituality is.
Yeah.
You know, being spiritual is about becoming one with yourself. And it's understanding that. What does that mean? And it's about exploring what that means for you. It's not about all the multi-dimensional stuff. That's deeper, that's different. But the real spirituality is your soul's journey and your connection to yourself. And I was chatting with someone earlier today about it, because they were like, oh, go off with your fairies, Vicki. And I was like, all right, I'll go off with my fairies. That actually isn't spirituality either. Okay, it's a part of a spiritual world that exists, but it's not your spiritual journey. Your spiritual journey is not the angels, it's not the dragons, it's not the fairies, it's not the unicorns. And don't get me wrong, I love my unicorns, but it's not. The spiritual journey is about you choosing to expand your soul, your mind, your body. That's it. All the other stuff, the spiritual ascension stuff, is different. You know, your soul went on a journey, your soul went on to past lives. But what does that mean to you? What Iena, you know, what you've experienced in your past lives and in your journeys on your soul's journey has got nothing to do with mine, because they're both different. How we experience the different reincarnations, how we grow, and it's something that often gets really misunderstood and then misinterpreted, and then traditionally, we are all seen as witchy woo woo crazy people. And it's silly, because if we're all crazy witchy woo woo people, then guess what? We just choose to align to ourselves or not.
Right. And yeah, and certainly you're going to attract people who resonate with that message, of course. But I think it's the other thing that you're kind of speaking to is our different journeys. And I think it's so important to remember that our experiences are only going to be, they're going to be fueling the lens from which we view the world. And without a guide or a coach who knows how to get you past that, you're never going to see what you need. you're never going to see what you need, because you can only see from your own experience. You need someone who's gotten to the other side of it, like Vicki, to get you through that, to hold their hand and walk the other way, because otherwise, this is my experience, this is what I see, this is my experience, this is what I see. There could be 10 different people in a room watching one show, and everybody's going to have a different experience based on their preferences, their life, whether they like noise, they don't, they enjoy this thing, they don't enjoy that thing, whatever it is, it's all relevant.
It's all completely relevant. But I think, like I said, the most important part of the journey is you being in control of your own journey and knowing where to seek help when you need it, rather than just flattening it off and putting everyone into one category, because it doesn't work like that. Everyone has a different experience, and not one of my clients is the same ever. And I mean ever. They all have different ways of wanting to work with a coach. They all have different ways of wanting to connect to their energetics. I have some clients that don't even want to know what trauma we're dealing with. And I'm like, that's fine, we don't need to, because we work in a way that we don't have to tap into the story. We just need to tap into where it's located in the body and what color it is, and that's it, and that's what I love about this work. It's not one size fits all, one strategy, one program, one modality, and everything else. It's so much more than that. And
that's huge.
The expansion that comes from it, when you dive in, when you create the desire, when you create the desire and the confidence to move into expansion, that's where the magic is. It's like, I'll never, ever, ever forget that day I walked out of the doctor's surgery. I think it was either November or December 2016. I had burnt out. I'd literally just exhausted. I was on my knees. I had chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, anxiety, PTSD. I had other mental health conditions that had been misdiagnosed due to trauma that I'd experienced. And it was just that there was just so much going on for me. And I did 16 weeks of psychotherapy, and I walked in and I walked out, and nothing inside me had changed. And I mean, nothing. So I went back to my doctor and said, right, I've done 16 weeks of psychotherapy. Nothing's changed. What are we going to do next? And he went, nothing. There's nothing we can do. You just need to get on with it, find a way to cope with the pain, find a way to deal with what's going on inside your head, and good luck. You'll be in a wheelchair by the time you're 40. See you later. Bye-bye. Off you go. And I remember walking out the doctors that day, sticking my fingers up, going, screw you. I've got 3 children, and they are not going to grow up with a mum struggling like this. So in that moment was when I made a decision. I'm not going to be victim. I'm going to find a way, and I'm going to move through it. And that's when my journey of expansion started. Was it easy? Fuck no. It was the hardest thing I have ever had to do in my life. And I spent the best part of 2 years crying every single day.
Yep.
But within 2 years of starting that journey, I'd cleared fibromyalgia. I had cleared chronic fatigue. My anxiety, depression, and PTSD symptoms had massively reduced. And now we're in 2024, how far I've come and what I do now, and how different my life is compared to what it was, and where I'm going, and the dreams and the ambition. And then I get over all those big things. Like when I was just at the very early stages of my journey, it was like I couldn't even stay in a hotel room because I just couldn't settle. I couldn't settle being in a strange place, and I wouldn't sleep. Most people go to a hotel room and they get a really good night's sleep. I had the complete opposite impact because of my PTSD levels. So that's how I started. And now I do all kinds. I go to hotels, I go to events on my own. I've learned to ride a motorbike. I traveled the UK on my motorbike. I did solo 5-day trips. So when I look back to the empty shell and the mess that I was, and then I look to the woman that I am today, the journey of expansion is the best thing I ever did.
Yes, thank you. Oh my gosh, I love that. And it's so important for people to hear that too. I think all of us have very similar stories that are at least on this journey. I think there's always something to learn. But I will tell you that generally when you hit that choice point in your life, which I feel like that's where you were, and certainly I've done the same,
Yeah.
you get to this fork in the road where you're like, I can continue on the same path, and probably things will be the same or worse, or I can make a radical shift and see what happens there. Can't get any worse. It sure as hell can't get any worse. And that's I think the epicenter for all of us for transformation is like, what is the catalyst for you? And so many people are ready right now, and so many people need the information that you bring today. So thank you.
Oh, it's likewise, because you share just as much power within that message as I do. And I think that's why we get along so well.
Yes.
No, we have the
Yes.
inner workings of knowledge. That's what that is.
Woo-hoo.
Been there, done that, got the
Check.
t-shirt, we've explored it all.
Check, check, check. And I think for me anyway, and it seems like you too, is just like I don't take myself seriously. I do take my work seriously, but I love laughing at the shit that I've gone through, and the those troubles that we have. I mean, what is it if we can't laugh at it? What are we gonna do? Cry all fucking
Oh,
day? No, that's not
sometimes,
gonna help
yeah.
anybody.
No, sometimes when you're wrapped up in the shitstorm, it doesn't always feel great, and laughing about it doesn't always feel appropriate. But when you come
No.
through to the other side and you're suddenly not in the thick of it, and you look back and you go, why did I even bother getting so upset about it?
Yeah.
Like, what is the matter? Why on earth did I put myself through that torture for nothing? But it's because we're here to learn, isn't it? We're always here to learn and grow. And I can tell you, looking back at some of the situations that I've been through, they're not laughable. They're actually really quite difficult. And a lot of people actually struggle to hear parts of my story when I've shared it, because it's dark and it's miserable. But
Yeah.
that's not who I am.
Mhm.
And that's the key, isn't it, to breaking through. Just because I have experienced those things doesn't mean that I am a different person. And that for me has been one of my biggest shifts away from toxic shame,
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
I was so wrapped up in that energy of, well, I've gone through that, so that must make me a bad person, or I've had that experience, that must mean I'm not good enough, or I've got that story, and that means that I'm just a really worthless piece of shit off the bottom of everyone's shoe, and that's why I keep getting kicked to the curb. And then to go through that journey of expansion and growth, to then go, actually, these situations that I have found myself in do not define who I am. They tell me a story and they show me where I need to do some work, but they don't define me anymore. I mean, this year is my glow up year. This is the year I'm stepping out onto the stages again. This is the year that I'm showing up for who I am. This is the year that my book's going to be published. It's coming out very soon, actually. But
Woo-hoo.
it's the transformation. You get to decide. So if I could share anything today, it's this. Decide what it is you do want, and allow yourself to expand and grow with it.
I love that. Woo! Vicki, you are amazing. Thank you so much for being here with us and sharing your wisdom. I could talk to you for several more hours. But I would like to know, how can people find you?
Okay, so there's two ways that you can actually be involved with me. And one of those is on Instagram, which is the Spiritual Entrepreneur Hub. And there is my Facebook group, which is the Spiritual Entrepreneur Growth Group. And that has monthly summits to help you expand and grow with different speakers, because it's not just my voice that matters. There's lots of different ways and lots of different teachings that come in. And when you're inside my Facebook group, you get access to live business readings, psychic business readings on a Tuesday, we normally do, and you get lots of additional added extras as well. So check me out on the socials. Love to connect, and
Awesome.
if you are going to reach out to me, make sure you do leave me a comment and let me know that you've come through Iena's podcast as well, just so that I know what you've listened to and I know where you found me.
Awesome. Yeah, and you guys, that information is going to be in the show notes, no matter where you're getting this information. So whether it's YouTube, Apple Podcasts, whatever, all that information is going to be in the show notes. Vicki, is there anything else? Do you have any specials or anything else you want to share with the audience?
Well, I don't know about specials, but if you are looking for radical realignment in your business and you are ready to really hone in on your offers, I certainly do have some one-to-one spaces available and would welcome some new fresh meat in. There we go. Some new
Meat.
fresh meat to realign. Yeah, well, you said it. I'm going with your words. I am a
Yes, I
human in a
did.
meat sack.
Yes, we are spiritual beings in a meat sack. That's what this podcast is all about. So, how can people reach out to you if they want to work with you?
Just yeah, social media,
Social.
Instagram or the Facebook group, and you just message me and say radical realignment, and we'll have a conversation. There is no sales
Okay.
pitch. It is a conversation because and what I'll probably do is invite you in for a psychic business audit, and that is really good fun, by the way. So
Nice. Okay, my beautiful. Thank you so much. You guys go check out and link up with Vicki, please, on all those social media platforms. Vicki, thank you so much for being here and sharing your wisdom with the audience today. We really appreciate you.
it's my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, my loves, have a beautiful day, peeps.
Bye.